ム友達関西関東西東北南チーム友達チーム友達チーム友達チーム友達チーム友達チーム友達俺たち何でチーム友達お好み焼き食うつる阪神腹いっぱい飯はうまい一人じゃ寂しいし電話来たりかけ直した後すぐ行く会いに TEAMODACHI
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rabbits and raccoons, anime lovers, comic book lovers, lovers of nothing at all. If you hear my voice, you see my face, you know we live. And of course, I got a special guest in the business and in the building. Some people might know him as the creator of Delta Dogs. You see his name, Vonell. But, you know, I'm from Chicago, so I can't do nothing else but say, Von, what's up with you, brother?
What's good, man? I appreciate you having me on the show.
Man, for sure. I'm happy you came through. You know, we was having a little conversation before this, and I always like to, if you grew up in the church people would say fellowship. If you know business, they say network. But then just for anybody else, I just like to sit here and talk to people that look like me, that like the things that I like. And I'm a big comic book lover. I got a whole stack of comic books here.
Let's go.
Just so you know, that's a classic right there.
That's a real one.
That's a classic.
That's a real one.
So I can go through the list on and on, but I didn't come here for that. We ain't talking about that. We talking about somebody that's getting in the game, got some skin in the game. So I'm gonna get out the way a little bit. Just introduce yourself to the people a little bit.
Yeah. So, of course, my name is Vonell. Creator of Delta Dogs, founder of Millennial Comics, is of course a publishing company. You know, been in the game for a few years now, and we published over 20 books, a couple of different series out with our flagship series, of course, Delta Dogs. And man, we just rocking, man. You know, whoever been digging with us, man, they've been locked into the series and stuff like that. And you know, we trying to do some big things.
For sure. So the first thing that I want to say to people is he said publishing company, which means he has the knowledge of it. So if you got questions, I'm pretty sure he'll take the questions for sure. I got a few people in my wheelhouse. Rich, I don't want to say his real name, but I got a few people in my wheelhouse who got comic books that they want to put together. Some people want to come up with mangas. Listen, you got somebody here that has a publishing company. So one band, one sound. I say reach out to him if you got a question. That's me. But the bigger question is for you, how did you even get into this?
Man, of course, you know, my origin story starts way back when I was a kid, man. I was like about 7, 8 years old. And you know, my older brother, he started doing books and stuff like that. He started, like, when I say older brother, I mean like he's 10, you know, and he started like drawing little comic book strips and stuff like that. And of course, you know, me being a younger brother, I tried to follow along. And you know, we saw cartoon shows like Static and stuff like that growing up. And man, you know, I just stuck with it, you know, after when I started creating my own characters and stuff like that. So I've been kind of rocking ever since. And of course, you know, a lot of stuff has evolved since then. You know, I started to be aware of, you know, certain things like, oh man, there's only like about 1 or 2 characters that's actually black. So, you know, of course, including Static. So I'm like, all right, you know what, you know, I got a little mission now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to bring our culture, you know, to the forefront and kind of, you know, make that the popular decision to kind of watch. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. I would say something happened in the movie theater that night when the first original Black Panther came out, because all of us nerds kind of been here this whole time watching Static Shock, watching cartoons, and it just seemed like at that moment, it's like cinema was like, wait a minute, like, why don't we have more heroes? Why don't we have more people pushing the melanin? And it's like, to be honest with you, Marvel and DC, they got quite a few representations of us, but they don't push them. So it's kind of our job to put ourselves in the forefront, which is something that you're doing. But
Yeah.
with that being said, is it any one person that inspired you to make this move? Maybe a comic book character in itself, or a person in real life that you have a relationship with?
Like again, like I said, my brother is a huge influence. But McDuffie, when he did Static and just a lot of the milestone characters, man, I just thought like it was just a different feel from the different ones that we've seen on TV and stuff like that, or in comic books. Just a completely different feel, which I was like, man, like if we had somebody that's really like locking into it and it tells our story, they're not trying to act like us, but they're trying to more of like just being an authentic self of our culture and stuff like that. Again, it's just a completely different feel, and you'll see, especially with the new milestone initiative versus the old one. It's just two different tones, if that makes sense. And I think
Right.
that's a whole part of the map that has not been explored in the mainstream, and that's one thing that I want to kind of do with my different comic books.
Gotcha. So all of this is like leading up into basically Delta Dogs.
Mhm.
If you had to say what is the tone of Delta Dogs, what is a message you don't have to give us too much, because I want people to obviously go read it. I'm gonna cop me a copy. I want to try to get one from you, because everything that I do when I interview somebody who's a creator, I want art from the person. I want an autograph, because I'm gonna build the whole back wall back here displaying nothing
Let's
but
go.
Black creators and the different people that I talked to, had on the show, and how just like genuine, like we out here, like
Yeah.
it ain't that hard to find, as Coach Prime would say, it ain't that hard to find. But just getting back to my original statement, what's the tonality of Delta Dogs? What message are you trying to get across?
So one of my huge things growing up as a kid, like I didn't have the best environment. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of like gang violence and stuff like that. And we didn't have the prestige neighborhood and stuff like that, or even the best schools back then, especially the best schools. So one thing I wanted to bring with Delta Dogs was like the environment of like, man, like can we make a difference? And then of course influence plays a huge thing in the environment. It's not just mom and dad, it's everybody else that's around you, and then also who you interact with and stuff like that can influence you. So I took a lot of that stuff and put it into Delta Dogs, of how again, like a mom is needed, how a father is needed, how what type of roles they played, and also what roles do the streets play, because everything is taken into a factor of how a kid develops and stuff like that. And we take a lot of different stuff like that, and that's why it's surrounded around 7 cousins, of how they like kind of like bump heads and kind of rock with each other and stuff like that, how they bounce off of just how they rock. So
Okay, for sure. Now we're talking about comic books. If you had to choose between DC and Marvel, to take us off topic a little bit, which one are you going with? Because that's a constant battle at all times. Are you a DC guy or a Marvel guy? Which one has more influence on you?
Man, I love DC's like imagination. Like they go way out the box, right?
Right.
But with Marvel, and Marvel is my answer. And that's only because like it's more grounded. It's more of like, okay, New York City, right? And that's how I want to do with Delta Dogs. It's like Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia Beach and stuff like that. I wanted something where it's like it's really close to home. Like you actually see the life of Peter Parker, you know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
the life of X-Men inside the mansion and stuff like that. Versus like, all right, they Superman going to another planet, or the Green Lanterns and stuff like that. They out there and about, or Batman just never really trying to chill out as Bruce Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very personal. I feel like with Marvel, or I'll just say more personal than DC, when it comes to like again the life of the one behind the mask.
Gotcha. So you have to. I think that's dope, just because I think I heard Denzel say in an interview that I think they were pretty much talking about how a interviewer asked him, why can't a white person basically tell a black story? And he was like, they can, but he was like, that hot comb hitting the back of your neck, like it's little intricacies of our story that you had to be involved with or know that happened. And it takes on a different role. In fact, we see it in Sinners. Like Sinners is doing crazy numbers right now for a horror movie. And it's just because it's telling our story from our perspective, from a person that looks like us. And I think your comic book is going to do the exact same thing, and I see a lot of people just like you when they start out, they have these big dreams and they go forward. But then the moment they see like their first hill that they got to climb, they quit. So I just asking you for like motivation for not only myself and for everybody else. Is it anything that you had to deal with early on in your business? How did you kind of like overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a never-ending battle right now because, to be completely honest, and I'm not trying to be negative, but to be completely honest, we're not the popular pick.
Yeah, be real.
I mean, we're just not. We have to kind of like rebuild when it comes to our brand, the Black brand of like when you see a Black comic book, you know what I'm saying, you want to go crazy. Like when we see a manga, like, oh man, it's a new manga that dropped. Oh man, let me go ahead and check that out. I want to make sure that people start to build their brand of like when you see a Black owned comic book, like, oh man, I gotta check that out like ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Because when you see like the Milestone books back in the day, bro, you pick that thing up right away. You ain't need somebody to explain it to you, like nothing. You just rocking with it. So that's one thing that I've been struggling with is like again, people just trying to give me a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like as a writer and a creator and stuff like that, you got to be the ultimate salesman. You have to have the ultimate marketing skills, and you have to bend somebody's arm just to kind of just give you like a chance to hear you out. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I've been really battling with. And again, with the series and stuff like that, it's really just it's a long, tough road, but it's really, are you willing to walk that road and stuff like that? And I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? Of because we don't have big what is it?
We got big money behind us, big marketing behind us, big brand behind us.
Exactly, or mentors, money, mentors, all that stuff. Like we don't know what to do, so we got to kind of find out the hard way. Money got to get hit with it. You get hit with your pockets a few times because you're messing up or whatever, but you have to learn from those mistakes. You have to gather yourself together. You have to learn how to pivot and stuff like that. And that's just as a regular creator, but we also have that thing stacked on top of us that we have, of course, our skin color and of how people see us and stuff like that. And it's it's real. People not gonna flat out say like, bro, I don't like you because you're Black. No, they're gonna say other things or passively like, nah, I'm good. I'd rather check out this comic book instead. And they probably don't even know they're being racist, but hey, it is what it is. But again, we're trying to become a household brand and hopefully be able to change that and open up a whole bunch of doors for other different creators.
Yeah, I think eventually, especially for you, it'll happen. Right now, I'm not trying to give you advice, but just encouragement, because I deal with it on the same side. I deal with it on my side as well. You got all these positive thoughts, and you want that representation to be out there in every industry, not just comic books, but everything. And it just seems like it's harder just to get that started and get it pushed. But everybody loved to call us the trendsetters. Like when it popped, everybody liked to say, yeah, y'all can dance, y'all know how to dress, y'all know how to do this. But it's like we got so many creators that's just putting on for us, and they're right there in front of your face. And that's why I wanted to bring you to the show, and I bring others to the show, because it's like there are people making positive waves happen. And I think we need to start putting this on notice. And that's my life mission, and that's my life goal, is to put people like you, Ozzy and others on, or at least join the fight to get in front of it and push it, because we dope. And I'm gonna give y'all a full review once I read the comic book, but I wanted to get on and talk to the creator, and because this was just as a organic thing that happened between you and I, me hopping in your DM and everything. But I just wanted people to know and see a person that look like them that's doing something that can inspire a legacy. So I'm gonna stop talking so much, but I just at least wanted to give you like some type of encouragement and everything, because every single person that I talk to feels the same way. It's always highs and lows, every single time, especially when it comes to us. But
I definitely want to add on to, especially with Sinners coming out, and that's what I mean by the whole, like, it's a map that hasn't been explored yet when it comes to like our splash, the comic books. Like, you'll have, like, say, Game of Thrones, right? You know, that's made by, you know, a white dude. Or you'll have you know, again, how you have like Asians, you know, they had Dragon Ball Z and they brought Attack on Titan and all these other different series to the table, and that's how like Asian culture do it. That's how white culture do it. We haven't really seen of how we would do it. You know what I'm saying? So we got vampires, which, you know, Sinners took, you know, put their spin to it and stuff like that. And then you also have a what is it? It was Evolution, or what was it called? It was like the vampires versus werewolves back in the day, and that was made by a black creator. Oh man, what was it called?
Was it a book first? I
think
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was a book first,
and it was like
back in 1990s.
I know you're not talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but like I said, it's different. It's different stuff that we can bring into the table that people just have not thought about because they haven't lived the same life that we've lived. So we're not trying to challenge anybody's like, oh man, I can write black stuff too. Like, we're not saying that. We're saying that we can bring something else that you guys just haven't thought about to the table. So like with Delta Dogs, you know, we're doing Cousins. Like, what?
Right.
Like, how many different series, comic book series, have you seen where it's like a group of cousins, you know, doing some superhero stuff? You know what I'm saying? And like when it's really about family like that, or like a family reunion, you know, just raw off rip and stuff like that. So I mean, again, we're bringing something else different to the table that hasn't been explored yet, and I'm looking for other creators to do the same thing as well.
Hey, I'm gonna network with you after this, because I've had some creative ideas and I just didn't know where to take it. Right, like, and that's one of the things. I got my hands in so many things, but I love to create. And I feel like that's one of the greatest things that you could give back to the creator is creating something. You're literally mimicking the creator. But I encourage everybody who has an idea, especially when it comes to comic book, to like tap in with you and just simply ask the question, because the question can turn into networking, and networking, they can know somebody that you need, and now you network. That's the way it happens. That's Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. That's literally how it happens. But speaking of like influences, has it been like, I think you spoke on Duffy. Is it anybody in the indie industry, from a producer or just the industry? And it ain't even got to be the industry that has influenced you with their artwork.
I want to say one guy that he really helped me out in the beginning too, because again, I didn't know too much of anything. Like, you can read comic books, but you'll never know some of the things, or you wouldn't notice some of the things reading books and stuff like that, of like how it's like actually put together. So Tyrone Jackson, he was he was one guy that really helped me out. He does a number of different comic books as well. And I know one thing that was kind of like a struggle for me. Well, let me finish answering your question. So he's one thing, and again, different stories that I've kind of wrought with, like my teachers. I had a few different teachers that I used that I grew up with, going through school and stuff like that, where it's just like, man, like I would love to tell that story. You know what I'm saying? Like collecting different stories and stuff like that. So again, teachers, different fathers, or different mothers would all played a big role into want to again kind of construct different stories and stuff like that. So I mean, I can't really just say just one person like McDuffie and so on. And it's not even just typically like, what is it? Celebrities, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's like
it's pretty life much in general.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's life in general. Yeah.
So what would you say your process of putting together a comic book? I think I got it written down as, what does your creative process look like?
Okay.
Do you go from like script to panels? Do you write
Mhm.
solo, collaborate, or do you freestyle the art first? What does it look like?
Oh yeah, that's the Marvel way to put the art first, right? So how I usually do it, man, is I start with a simple idea, right, or a simple question, and
Mhm.
then I start gathering up different stuff to kind of match with that. So with Delta Dogs, again, I used to walk with my cousins. It'd be 7 of us back in the day, and I was like, man, yo, what if I kind of like grab all that information and amplify it? So boom, I have my characters or whatnot. I want to have like different questions that I would use that story to answer those different questions, right? Like the environment and um, and stuff like do you have a choice when it comes to your environment? Are you just born in it and stuck in it, or whatever the case may be? So again, I'm writing down different notes and different and this and that, and then also I have like all right, what would be a problem, right? So that problem I would change into a villain, right? And have again that question be opposed to that villain, right? Which
Mhm.
would again go against that answer to that the hero has, right? Whether the hero is right or whether the villain is right, right? So again, all these different steps I would take to again developing it, and then I'll actually make a beginning, middle, and end, right? And then so once the script and everything is together, I'm sorry, not the script. Script not even there yet. So once
All good.
everything is together, then I'll break it into different episodes and then start writing the actual script and developing all that stuff further. Because you have to have different skills to write different scenes, like how to start a scene, how to end the scene, and whatnot. So after that, all the different creative stuff is written. Then of course you have powers and stuff to match with along with the story. You don't just come up with a random power. Well, me personally, I don't just come up with a random power. That power actually have to match the story.
Mhm.
And so then after that, then of course, I'll reach out to the artist, figure out what the artist likes to draw, so they can be passionate about the project as well. Find that and make sure that we're heavy connected, and then of course get everything drawn out. So I use like I don't think I have. Oh, I do actually do have it with me. I don't know why I always keep it beside my desk. So you have like different like figures and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
the
Mhm.
figures can kind of match with the drawings and stuff. Um, and then of course you have an editor as well. You get the editor to kind of check over everything before everything is drawn up as well. Uh, and just overall kind of just you started like after a while you start to see like everything kind of like coming together. So
Mhm.
again, have a letter and everybody has to be on the same page. You get everything written out, you get everything edited, you reach out to the artist, get everything drawn out, and then of course the colors, whatever. It's a lot of information that you're going back and forth with the artist and colorist. And then after all that, then of course you have your letterer, and then you have to format everything so you can get ready for printing and stuff like that. And once you get the printing process, then got everything going, you got your packaging equipment right and stuff like that, and then that's when you start to push it out. But during all this process, even during the creative phase, I highly recommend that you're promoting at the same time.
Mm.
So if your artists bring out something, you see that it's like, yo, this is not what I want, right? So you post that image, like, yo, you can post that image online with Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, or any groups that you're in. Like, yo, what y'all think? You when you switch it up and stuff like that, and then the artist gives you the actual image, then that's something again, another post you could put up there, like, all right, look, man, we start off with this. Me and the artist, we worked it out, and this is the finished product and whatnot. And then it gets your audience more engaged because creating the writing process, even though I talked the most about that, that's actually like maybe 10% of everything, like 5% to 10% of everything, because they're going to see the art first, they're going to see the lettering first, they're going to see the promotion first, they're going to see the social
Right.
media stuff first. All that stuff comes first before the writing, where it's like, okay, they can't really even tell if you're a good writer until like maybe the first few pages, or some people takes a book, some people takes 3 books or whatnot to get the audience hooked. So it's a lot of creative stuff, but stuff that you do for real. A person that don't know what you know as an influencer and a person that's like really good on social media and stuff like that, you would get further than the person that's actually creating the content and stuff like that, if that makes sense. That's how important it is. So yeah.
For me, for me is not to cut you off. For me, it's crazy because I've watched the ebbs and flows of social media. Like I've been with social media for a while, as most people, but just trying to look at it professionally and look at it for my business. I would say what you're doing obviously has a long-term better projection than Instagram, because I know people who got 80,000, 100,000, 200,000 followers and can't sell a damn thing. And it's crazy because now it comes to the question of, well, what is this for? Where you go through all of this and literally it takes one person and your whole comic book career changes. You know, one thing that fascinates me, not only on social media side, just from a culture side, is I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna try to remain.
Come on.
I had these moments where I'm like, I'm gonna go there. Us as Black people, we absolutely love to stand on a soapbox and say, yeah, we should have more representation. But then when it comes to supporting us, when it comes to getting in the line and spending that dollar, that's where the problem comes from.
Yeah.
And that's where corporate America plays with us, because they know that is a thing. If we just united and just was like, my kids are going to watch cartoons that look like them, our kids are going to read comic books that look like them, and they're going to, if we made that decision and those dollars went there, we'll turn the industry upside down. Because here's my unpopular opinion: Black people made Dragon Ball Z popular. You can't say nothing. You can't tell me nothing else. Black people made Dragon Ball Z popular.
Come on, we the biggest hype culture ever. We makes the scene. You know what I'm saying? That, like, bro, they take our rap music and hype their movies up. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro.
When we were stuck at home watching Toonami, who would have thought that we would have been indoctrinated by Japanese culture? And we watching Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, and now all of these years later, it becomes cool. That doesn't happen by osmosis. The cool culture had it, curated it, and now all of a sudden everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. It almost sounds like it was by design. Like if you have to put a Sprite bottle in a commercial with LeBron James because you know that's gonna go, or hip, we know, get it in front of the African American culture, as long as it doesn't benefit the African American culture. And guess what? We gonna send it. But here we have people like Q from Kings of the Abyss. We have Vaughn from Delta Dogs. We got all these different people coming out with all of this different stuff, and it's just like crickets. And that's my mission. I'm for be a system disruptor, and that's why I constantly fight with the algorithm, because the algorithm want to basically say, Delta Dogs Vonell, you are a Black creator. You created Delta Dogs. This is your audience, and we might not give you everybody. This is you. This is what people like. We're going to give it to you when we like it, or when we want to do it. That's not the way free market is supposed to be. That's just me. Hate it. Yeah, I'm gonna go on my rant sometimes, but I see the trends because I study social media and marketing and everything, and I see how we catch fire for everybody else but us. Yeah, Sinners isn't a. I knew it was gonna do that. It's
Come
us.
on. The director alone, bro, you got to know.
Jordan Peele, Get Out. I knew it was going to do that.
Come on.
Why can't we do it for everything else?
All we needed was a budget. That's all we needed.
That's it.
We'll take care of everything else.
That's absolutely it. Now, do you have some like culture innuendos in your comic book that you got to be from the culture to know?
Yeah.
Can you touch on a little bit of it without giving too much? I know that's a complex question.
No, you good. So I just want to make sure I understand. So you're saying like something that that I bring to the table that you wouldn't get in other comic books, right?
Right. Right. Okay. I'm black, right? I read your comic book. Black creator puts this together. I might pick this up, but other cultures won't pick this up.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you got one of them. Like, I mean, even when it comes to the hairstyles, you know what I'm saying? You got one of the characters. His name is Josh. He has the high top fade. You know what I'm saying? So or just the cousins alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I want to gain powers. My cousins got this thing, and like let me go ahead and pick this thing up. Like, this is how it be. Right. You know, instead of you know how Spider-Man always joking the villain as he fighting them, stuff like that. The cousins, they out there like joking each other while they fight the villain. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a switch to it. Like that's just how we'll rock. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to again the superhero genre and stuff like that. You know, it's just have a little different stuff in there where it just has that different feel to it.
Gotcha. Here's a fun question for you.
What's up?
I'm a big executive. I just picked Delta Dogs up. Who you got playing in real life? This is the real life adaptation of Delta Dogs. Who, if you could pick anybody, who's playing the main character?
Who's playing the main character? Man, it's this dude. I'm not sure. He might be a little too old. I'm not sure, but I think I'll rather get him in there. The guy from Hose, Zero. Yeah.
I'm working on getting him on this platform. I literally told the wife, like, I got to get him on this platform. That's dope.
He would be so dope to play Quan, which is of course one of the main characters. That would be so dope. And of course, get Coogler to direct everything, and I mostly only trust him with that, like for real. And of course, I have different ones that's kind of like influenced me, like 50 Cent. He's in there. I kind of like got a character that's kind of based around him. Also, other different rappers like Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that. I know I got J. Cole that's gonna be coming up in there. And Snoop Dogg, like again, different characters like that is in the story where it's like, it's not the actual Snoop Dogg or anything, but they have a character that's kind of like influenced from them, if that makes sense, or inspired by them. So,
gotcha. Okay,
that'd be dope.
Is it anything a reader might miss the first time going through the comic book?
That's a good question. So I think one of them, let me see. One thing that the reader might miss is this is kind of so at the beginning of the comic book, it's like a flash forward. These cousins are fighting crime, just some regular stuff, right? And then of course during the whole thing, you see that there's two cousins that's missing. One that's kind of narrating everything, because he wasn't able to join the group just yet. And then you have the second one, which I feel like a lot of people miss, where it's just like, okay, like, yo, did he pass away, during, with the flash forward and stuff like that? Like what happened? You know what I'm saying? So I know that's one of the things that's in the comic book that I feel like people kind of miss, but it's okay. I know I was really super subtle with it, so it's all good.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
we're gonna slowly wind down so we can get you out of here, but I got some flash questions that I want to ask you. They're very generic questions, but it's questions that you have to ask every creator. Okay. The first question is going to be, why does Black representation matter?
Man, I think it's because, like, when you have like this, all right, let me say it this way. I'll put it this way. What if we never had Asian culture, like as in we never had anime, like manga and stuff like that? What if we never had that? That's the same thing as suppressing the black culture. You know what I'm saying? Us building our own stories and stuff like that. It's the same thing, because we can have just as good, like we can be the next Marvel. We can have the next Marvel, the next DC, and all the other good stuff, because we haven't told our stories yet and stuff like that. So it's important that we come out with stuff like that so people can learn about our comic books, I mean, and our creativity and stuff like that, and we can kind of bring out our the next stage of creativity to the world and stuff like that. So, and we still have not gotten that just yet.
Okay. What is a moment that you look back and you like, I wish I would have did that a little bit differently, if it exists?
My first issue, definitely, I mean, I think that's anybody, but definitely wish I would have went with a different artist. Low-key, went with just a different route of how I brung out Delta Dog stuff. Like, you know, it's cool and all, but I've grown so much where it's just like, man, I would definitely do that, excuse me, differently, versus, you know, of course, how I did. Yeah.
You don't think that makes it like unique and that much better? Like, I almost like with AI and making everything perfect. I almost love mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I almost love, I hate to say it, imperfections, because AI is set to make everything perfect and beautiful and whole. And then you go back and you listen to your James Brown song and it ain't the greatest audio, and he's screaming to the point where it peaks out, and you like,
let's go, come on,
Temptations,
get it.
all of that, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't think that makes it that much sweeter because now you see the growth.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like looking at your middle school outfit, you know, versus when you grew up. Like, bro, like, come on, man, take off the suspenders, like.
Okay. Right,
but
so,
I mean, I get it though. I mean, it's definitely something like I really like your point. Like, as you kind of changing my opinion at this point, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty dope way to put it.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to get into. I'm pretty sure it's a market out there, but I'm trying to create a genre called trap-fi. I like music, but I think rap music and hip-hop music at this point is just kind of like every song sounds the same. Everybody got auto-tune in it and everything. I'm 35. One thing I love to do if I'm not smoking a cigar with my feet kicked up, I like peace. I like to put something on in the background. Sometimes I don't want no words. I love lo-fi, but sometimes lo-fi puts me to sleep. But there's not a genre out there where it's like lo-fi meets 808s. And that's something that I'm sticking my hands in, and I called it trap-fi.
Yeah.
You know, and I uploaded the first song, and I keep listening to it over and over again. I'm like, it don't sound good. And I'm like, but honestly, that's what makes it that much better. The imperfections, because now take 5 years from now, I'm 40 years old and it caught on. You go back and listen to that first song, you like, that's what made that song great. Because now we're in the AI world and everything sounds perfect and everything looks perfect. It's the imperfections that makes art.
Yeah.
You know,
most definitely, bro. That's a whole story within itself.
Yeah. So I mentioned it. Do you fear AI a little bit coming to the industry and taking over even from your standpoint?
I mean, you know, it's always creativity, man, to be made. I mean, we're hundreds of years in, and you know, people still coming up with some new stuff. AI is one of those things where it's one of those things, man. I don't know. I'd really doubt that it can really copy what we can really bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, imperfections is another thing too. I mean, you don't want to marry a robot, you know what I'm saying? So
some people will, but
yeah. So it's the same thing, you know. I feel like when it comes to at least the writing standpoint. I mean, even when it comes to art, art as well. And like the reason why AI would just never be as good is because they don't include the mistakes as well. So you know, that's what I'm saying. Like I really like what you said as well. And I think that it's gonna really highlight of how much work that we put in, and how different we sound versus the AI just trying to make the perfect sentence, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. I say it's a great time to be Black because we've been so well unrepresented. AI ain't got nothing. Yeah. I mean, you got something. We've been so well unrepresented. Like in the next 10 years, we gonna take over. And when it comes to just originality, that's just my thought. You know, And AI is not going to be able to replace us because we only make up 12.5% of the population. Which one would you rather take? The rest or get my data? So that's me. But that's that. If encouraging words for creators in general, what would you tell them, knowing that you went through everything that you went through?
I'm sorry, 1 second. That is my son. Let me just get.
Hey, it's all good.
I'm so sorry.
I'll take the show over. I will let everybody know he was mentioning Static Shock. I wanted to do like a humble brag thing and pull out this guy. So this comic book right here, if not this one, I got another one. This comic book right here has a signature. And I remember getting this comic book because obviously I love Static Shock. But in the comic book, there's a autograph by the gentleman that he was talking about, Duffy. And this is how crazy this is. I just walked into a random comic book store, picked this up, and purchased it for $20. I don't think for a second that the person that put this on the shelf knew who that was. I don't think that they knew that was one of the original creators of Static Shock. And for me, I find that to be absolutely wild because this book is not worth $20. Like this book is worth $500 in my head. But that's why we're talking about representation matters and telling our stories and all of that, because when it comes to certain things like this, they undervalue us. This comic book is literally the story of kind of what's going on in America. They don't know our value until it's too late. So that part, and especially when it comes to AI, I don't have to worry too much about them telling the story for African American culture, just because, they could go all the way back and say slavery happened, but then the stories that made us with the little intricacies, nah, not at all. And plus, a lot of us still have like this thing when it comes to AI that is the devil. We grew up with a lot of grandmas telling us that that's the devil. So AI could be the devil. But in case you missed it, I went on a whole rant. I got I got a static book conversation to what you were saying. Let me see if I can. To what you were saying, basically, I went to a random comic book store one day and I was just looking around and I found a Static Shock comic book.
Okay.
And I picked it up. It was $20 and it's the signature on there. I didn't say nothing about it. I was like, I ain't gonna say nothing. It had scribbled on there Duffy.
Let's go.
Duffy. Right. So I didn't say nothing. I knew who he was, but I'm like, I think we are so well unrepresented that this random comic book store did not know who the hell just signed this comic book.
Stop playing.
Dead ass. And I picked it up. And I'm like, he died. That book should not be worth $20. We like Basquiat.
You missing some zeros.
When you talk about Basquiat, Duffy was a Basquiat. Like real, put the work in, put art out there at a high level for corporate America. His stories were told, his characters were put out there to the point that it impacted a culture. There's not a single melanated person that I talk about that's angry at the fact that Static Shock still does not have a live action movie. We talk about Miles Morales. We talk about Black Panther. We talk about all these other people, but we know Static Shock got to happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's, in my eyes, I don't care how much budget they want to throw into Black Panther and, Miles Morales or whatever. Bruh, if Static got the same budget, bro, that would be a wrap for the whole entire game. Especially like, say McDuffie was still here. I'm sorry, that's my kid.
No, you good.
Yeah, just imagine, man, if McDuffie was still here, the type of characters he'll be bringing out, the type of company that he'll be running right now would be top tier, top tier
because
stuff.
before you get to a Ryan Coogler, you got to visit him. We so well unrepresented. Before you get to a Ryan Coogler, you have to go to a Duffy. That opportunity has to go to him first, but because he was not here, and you good. You trust me, you good. We slowly coming to the end, but if anybody missed it, that's how well unrepresented I think the African American culture is. I should not be able to walk into a random comic book store, pick up a comic book with Duffy's name scribbled on it for $20. That comic book, in my value, he is the, if not a big part of Static Shock. I got to do a little bit more research, but that comic book in pristine condition should be worth $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah,
you're talking about you're talking about the Black Superman, because before there was a Black Panther, I'm gonna be honest with you, nobody cared about Black Panther until the movie. My controversial
the general audience, yeah, no, it's definitely like maybe except like core like Black readers, maybe cared about Black Panther, but other than that, like just like the Iron Man effect, Iron Man won't all that in a bag of chips until he had his own movie, just like the same as Black Panther. Now Black Panther is mainstream now,
but again, you can't tell our story. That's an example. You can't tell our story. We know how big Static Shock is. It's like they keeping that in the tuck. Static Shock could literally rebuild the whole franchise. Because if DC decided to come out with this movie, and I've heard the argument that it's not big enough. I'm like, but au contraire, it's the right way to go if you want to build from something. If you want to put this Static Shock out, we ready to support it. That would give you the money that you need to go. Now you can't DEI it and switch up the main core people, because his sister is important. I know a lot of people right now around the corner that can play his sister. That's everybody's sisters. That's my wife.
That's a regular sister.
The intelligence, yet the attitude, all of that. You cannot mimic that. And Static Shock gave us that father figure. It gave us everything. But that's just me. But any final words before we wrap it up, I guess?
Let me see here. I do want to ask. I know it's kind of like switching the script, but I do want to ask, like, of course, you had asked me about my struggles as a comic book creator, but what about, of course, on your side of things, being like you hitting up certain people, maybe they don't respond, whatever, what I'm saying? Like, what's some struggles that you face on your side of things?
Self-doubt. I've been wanting to quit this every day, all day, 24/7. I've been wanting to walk away with it, walk away from it, not because I don't think I'm dope, just because I don't think I'm appreciated. And I don't mean that from a narcissistic standpoint.
Yeah.
But what I say
I know
what
you're talking about.
But what I say is, here I am, Black man, married, Black wife, who's a lawyer. I hate to put her business out there. I'm here, in the representation that you have of me on TV is not me. Right now, African American men are being attacked, and here you have a positive Black man that's putting on positive messages, trying to put a culture on to positivity when it comes to representation, when it comes to every single thing that's going on with comic books, gaming, technology, and anime. I'm trying to make Black nerd being a Black nerd cool, and I post something, and the algorithm shuts me down every single time.
Yeah,
it hurts. It hurts. It hurts because it's like, I see, even with the whole DDG thing, that's not my generation. You see Diddy, you see all of these different things that they put in the media when it comes to us, but then here we are being creators trying to put something positive out here, and it's crickets. Ozzy is I hate to put his business out there, but I'm just putting on for Black men. Ozzy is an amazing father, great artist. That boy should be a millionaire ×3.
I think like, just as simple as, first of all, negativity is what sells, you know what I'm saying? And they love to find any type of negative thing about us, it would sell. And even when it comes to hashtags alone, if I put hashtag Delta Dogs, it's not going anywhere, or hashtags Black Comic Books, it's not really going anywhere. But if I put hashtag Spider-Man or hashtag Superman or just blatantly hashtag white character, then it's going to go for a lot further. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's going to shoot up. So and I get what you're saying, because like for real, stuff what you got right now is being just smothered over from like single this or single that, or like don't have a father this, don't have a job this, whatever, some crazy bozo stuff that's just making a joke out of us. But you have people like you that's that's the real example of like, bro, like this is how it should be, this is how this is our standard, what I'm saying, we're only trying to go up from here and whatnot. But again, like you said, like that, and that's why I feel like we need our own platform that's going to actually like not I'm not even saying cater to us. All I'm saying is actually give us a fair shot to have something positive to actually get onto the algorithm and showing the people versus what they got.
If you go back, now we having a real conversation. But if you go back and you look at all of my guests, I only had one woman, and I made sure she was a Black woman. Every other guest that I had was a Black man, because again, I know how unwell represented that we are.
Yeah, and
every single last one of those these Black men are doing something in their life, whether there's videography, producing, creators, and it just seems as though it's like y'all ain't really trying to hear us. It's a fake and it's a front. Like I can stand on the soapbox for 3 hours and give people the issue of y'all not really trying to see us win.
It's true.
And like y'all ain't trying to see us win, because if y'all did, it would be so many people in better positions. You mean to tell me that there's a whole culture out there for Black men to create beats to go talk about all of these negative things, but then a creator that can make a comic book can't get no rhythm?
Come on.
What's the difference? It's he's creating a comic book, he's creating a beat. What's the difference? What is the difference? It's what you're into. You like the negativity. So now the real conversation is, why do you like the negative stuff? Why can't you can see a positive Black male role model over here and shrug your shoulders? Here's the button that I'll push before I wrap it up, and I know I can use Uno reverse card on this. If you was to ask any Black woman, does representation matter? She will make sure 100% that there is a Black woman being well represented. If you go to the white culture and you talk about representation, they're not gonna know no difference because they've had all the representation. But then when you go and you ask people, why aren't positive, quote positive Black men in the media? Crickets. So you agree that you've had it because you're not talking about it at all. And you agree from your standards that it's important because you could go on a rant like me, but then why can't I get positive male role models? Why can't I put more positive people in position to make us look good?
Yeah. It's definitely a big difference for when you do it, because like when, say, they're interviewing a white actor or a white creator or whatever, it's just a regular interview, right? But say a Black person is interviewing a Black person, then it's like, you're trying to cater and stuff like that. Like, bruh, like we're just trying to give some type of level playing field, because nobody's going to interview us.
All I want is, if I get fouled, let me get my free throw.
Well, I love that.
Everybody else, you look at her wrong, free throw. Don't even talk about them, free throw. But I could get hacked the Shaq, no free throw. And you might get a charging foul on you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what this is, and I accepted it. But I know with the little power that I got, my motivation is get this so I could put more people in power. I see what Ryan Coogler doing. I see what Jordan Peele is doing. I see what can happen when the right people are in power, and I'm not gonna stop till I get to the point where.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also want to add too, man. I'm and it's not for any of my comic books that is just for black people. You know what I'm saying? It's literally just has our basically it's just ice cream is for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Just like vanilla is for everybody, chocolate is for everybody too. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different
Right.
flavor. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Same quality ice cream and whatnot. So like you don't have to be black to like really enjoy the comic book. You'll enjoy even more if you was, but it's still telling a very good story. We put story in front of everything. That's basically like our slogan. We put story in front of everything. It doesn't have to be slavery. It doesn't have to be this. It's really just telling a really good story and something that most of anybody can relate to and stuff like that.
For sure.
So when people try to say like, man, hey, look, you're trying to like close your audience, like, no, my story is literally for everybody, and it's just told from our perspective. It's told from our culture and stuff like that. So we're not limiting ourselves. Your mind naturally or subconsciously is limiting you from actually picking up my book and giving it a chance. You know what I'm saying?
That is it, and that is all. That is it, and that is all. Because just give me my free throw. Just give me my free throw. It leveled the playing field. It just once you level the playing field. I heard this quote, and after I say this quote, I'm gonna ask you the most important question, and then we can wrap it up.
Right.
The quote was, "Why do so many African American men basically want to play baseball, football, or basketball?" And the person told them, "Anywhere where we know that the rules are clear and set, I'm running the game on you. I know the rules."
Yeah.
When it comes to something like this, we're still trying to figure out what the rules are. That's why we were behind. So when you ask somebody why so many African Americans rather play sports, we know what the rules are. Yeah. Charging to get you this. It's going to be a flag if you hold. We know the rules. But then when this game called life, y'all change the rules up every single time you see somebody progress. So that's my statement. Now, the final question is, where do we find this comic book? How do we support you?
So you can find us at millennialcomic.com, or just simply type in Delta Dog Comics, and you'll find all our books. We have again over 20 plus books of the Delta Dog series. We also have our comic book called Kicks. Basically, what if shoes give you superpowers and whatnot. It has also volume books as well. So we have 1 through 4 for volume books, which is 1 through 20 of our series from Delta Dogs. So you'll have a number of different things, man. So you can get a healthy dose of authentic Black content.
All right, for sure. So y'all heard it here. Make sure y'all go support my boy Von and Delta Dogs. I typically like to do what I'm gonna start doing is doing reviews of Black male creator products. I feel like that's so unique. It's dope. I actually got a painting back here from Ozzy that I'm gonna just show it because I think it's dope as hell. And anytime I get to gloat about Black men doing great things,
let's go.
Like this is absolutely crazy. I don't know if I can get it all in the screen. So he called it Chicago's very own, or Chicago's most wanted. If you know anything about the Boondocks, they stay in a suburb of Chicago, but they came from Chicago. You got the CTA train in there. I believe Gotham City in most lores, and some lores of Chicago. So you got Joker in there. I'm not sure what's. Yeah, it's so he actually bodied this. I got an autograph from him, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to connect with my boy Von. That way, I can get some art. And the next time I do an interview with somebody else, just like I did this, I'm throwing his art up there too. Because
let's go.
I don't just talk about it; I be about it. But other than that, we about to roll up out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Unless you got anything else for the people.
Nah, man, that's it, man. Everybody, of course, stay blessed and keep creating and keep supporting Black, man. We out here.
He will be back. He will be back. But we up out of here. All right.